From sole candidate to top Tory and now Prime Minister Designate of Britain. And that was all before afternoon tea. Theresa May on the fast track to number 10 Downing Street. I'm Brent Goff, and this is The Day.
I am honoured and humbled to have been chosen by the Conservative Party to become its leader.
I'm delighted that we're not going to have a prolonged Conservative leadership election campaign.
I am therefore withdrawing from the leadership election.
And I would like to pay tribute to Andrea Leadsom for the dignity that she has shown today.
I think Andrea Leadsom has made absolutely the right decision to stand aside.
Brexit means Brexit, and we are going to make a success of it.
And she will have my full support.
And I wish Theresa May the very greatest success. I assure her of my full support.
I would also like to pay tribute to David Cameron for the leadership that he has shown our party and our country.
So we'll have a new Prime Minister in that building behind me by Wednesday evening. Thank you very much. Right.
Well, welcome to the program, everyone. On the day Britain received a May in July, and June suddenly seemed brighter. Theresa May will become the UK's next Prime Minister on Wednesday. And she has already told the British people that she will help to make the June Brexit vote a success for the entire country. May moving at lightning speed today, earning her the title Turbo Theresa, became the sole candidate for the Prime Minister race. She was then elected top Tory and was then informed that she will replace David Cameron as Prime Minister. All of that within a few hours. Here's what she had to say.
During this campaign, my case has been based on three things. First, the need for strong, proven leadership to steer us through what will be difficult and uncertain economic and political times. The need, of course, to negotiate the best deal for Britain in leaving the EU and to forge a new role for ourselves in the world. Brexit means Brexit, and we're going to make a success of it.
All right, the woman who wanted to stay in the European Union is about to leave the UK out of the EU, and she sounds like she means what she says. David Charter is here with me. He is the Berlin correspondent with the Times. David, it's good to have you back on the show. A reborn Brexiteer. Do you think, is she trying to convince us that she believes what she believes, or is she trying to convince herself?
I think Theresa May is not a continuity candidate from what's gone on before. I think her reputation as a safe pair of hands is what's got her the job. But she's already sounding like she's got a lot of ideas that she wants to put into practice to change the way that people perceive the Conservative government and the administration. That'll mean some very well-known faces are probably going to be leaving the government. And she is going to implement Brexit. She has to retain the support of the Conservative Party.
Yeah,
because this is what has been the divisive rift through the party for 40 years.
Yeah. But what about the country, though? I mean, she has to unify the party, but she also has to unify the United Kingdom, right? I mean, she is facing maybe a breakaway Scotland and Northern Ireland.
This means that the Brexit process will be as consensual as possible with Europe. It won't be what people who have campaigned for Brexit. Some of the more extreme campaigners want what you call a hard Brexit. That's a real fight with Europe and possibly leads to the breakup of the European Union. Mm-hmm. Theresa May fundamentally believes in the European Union. She doesn't want to break it up. She wants a strong European Union and a strong Britain that works with it in the best way possible.
You don't think there's maybe the possibility that at the end of the day, she may be the chance or the Prime Minister who says we're actually not going to leave the EU? Do you think she could actually pull that out of her hat?
This is a question I get all the time in Germany because so many people are in denial about the referendum results.
It's because that referendum, as we've said before, it's not politically it's not legally binding, right?
It's not legally binding, but you tell that to the 17 million people in Britain who voted for it.
Yeah.
That's, at this stage, is sophistry. And Brexit is happening, and we all have to get our heads round it. Even people who voted for Remain, who were keen on staying. It's happening. We have a Remainer who's going to implement it. We'll probably have a Remainer as Chancellor as well. I mean, the favourite to become the new Chancellor is the Foreign Secretary, Philip Hammond. He's a Remainer. So we're going to have a top team who are a mixture of Remainers and Brexiters, and that's the way it must be to have a united process. They may even invite politicians from other parties to join the negotiations.
Negotiations, yeah. Well, May, without a doubt, faces a raft of challenges when she takes on the country's top job, but after a successful stint in the Home Office, her supporters believe that she is a safe bet to steer the UK through some unprecedented changes. Take a look.
Theresa May is ready to take control. No one's left to challenge her bid for the top job, and May is already sounding like a prime minister, ready to lead the UK out of the EU.
Brexit means Brexit, and we're going to make a success of it. There will be no attempts to remain inside the EU.
Britain's next prime minister is known as a hard-working pragmatist. May served as Interior Minister for 6 years. She supported the Remain camp during Britain's EU referendum. And after the Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher, May will become Britain's second ever woman Prime Minister. A dramatic rise for a clergyman's daughter from the south of England. But May will likely earn her place in history books as the Brexit Prime Minister. May's pathway to power was triggered here by the Queen's speech to Parliament in 2015. It would turn out to be a fateful announcement for many in the room.
Early legislation will be introduced to provide for an in-out referendum on membership of the European Union before the end of 2017.
May stayed out of the campaign limelight, but went on the record as a Remain supporter.
Taking control is about making sure that our voice is heard and that it counts. But we can only take a lead on these issues if we're sitting around the table in the first place.
After the Leave victory and Conservative leader David Cameron's swift departure, speculation started that May would step in to fill the void.
Are you going to stand, Home Secretary?
Less than a month later, she is stepping in to fill the political vacuum of Britain's chaotic Brexit aftermath.
The right honourable gentleman, we have police spotters who are the people who are trained to spot.
David Charter's back here with me now. So the day began with Andrea Leadsom announcing that she is dropping out of the race. Was she forced to do that? What do you think?
I think that she realised herself that it takes a whole lot more to be Prime Minister than it does to be even a candidate, one of 5 candidates to be Prime Minister, to be a junior minister. She hasn't even served in the cabinet. She's been quite a competent junior minister, and she has a lot of real-world experience. But politics at the sharp end is so tough.
Especially when you're throwing darts yourself, right?
Well, the thing is, it was an interview with my newspaper that really led to the unravelling of her campaign in a matter of hours, not even days.
Yeah.
And when she suggested that because she had children and Theresa May didn't, that she had a stake in the future of the country, and that was a suggestion that she was better qualified to be Prime Minister because she had children.
We've got the audio of that interview, too. Let's just take a listen to that.
Do you feel like a mum in politics? Yes. And why? How does it affect you?
Really carefully, because I am sure, I don't really know Theresa very well, but I'm sure she would be really, really sad that she doesn't have children. So I don't want this to be, Andrea's got children, Theresa hasn't. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that would be really horrible. But genuinely, I feel being a mum means you have a very real stake in the future of our country, a tangible stake. You know, I mean, she possibly has nieces, nephews, you know, lots of people, but I have children who are going to have children who will directly be a part of what happens next.
Yeah.
So it really keeps you focused on what are you really saying.
Okay, so there we have it. She has children, so she's got a real stake. And the media just tore her up after this.
I think what it showed, Brent, was it wasn't really meant as a nasty attack, I don't think. I think she was just really being rather naive and in the manner that she talked about this to the interviewer.
Or maybe just showing her true colours.
Well, the thing is, every single word that you say when you're up to be Prime Minister, to be leader of your country, is going to be poured over by millions of people. And she didn't get that, I don't think. For her, remember, they were sitting in a coffee bar in a local town.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah, just a Costa coffee.
Yeah.
You could hear it in the background.
Sure.
She was lulled into a false sense of security, maybe, thinking that it was just an ordinary conversation. It wasn't. It was her first interview since she was the sole candidate against Theresa May.
Yeah. Well, let's just take a listen. I mean, she said that she was attacked by the media. So let's take a listen to how she reacted to that reaction. Oh, okay. I've been told we don't have that. But anyway, she said that she was unjustifiably attacked.
Yes, and she was emotional. I mean, even during the interview, in another section of that interview, she became so emotional about her single mother bringing up her and her two siblings that she started to cry during the interview. So we've got a woman who seemed to be kind of on the emotional edge at the start of a 2-month campaign. And it made not just journalists, but people in the Conservative Party, serious members of the Conservative Party who were thinking of backing her, back away. They felt that she wasn't quite made of the right stuff. A senior Conservative said, well, that journalist was maybe a little tough. I think Putin would probably be tougher.
That's a very good point. Last but not least, let's talk about David Cameron. I want us to watch as he announced basically that he's called the movers to come to 10 Downing Street today. Let's take a look at that video. Maybe we can talk as he goes back into the building. Let's just watch.
So we'll have a new Prime Minister in that building behind me by Wednesday evening. Thank you very much.
Phone is still on, and so we're watching him.
Right.
That was David Cameron saying, do-de-do, right? I'm done.
Yeah. A huge weight has been lifted from his shoulders. He had got to the point where he was done with this job. And it's partly because he lost the referendum. It was a bad call on his part. It was a gamble that went horribly wrong. If he'd won the referendum, he would have stayed for another year or two in Downing Street. There's no question. But we know that there are probably family reasons why he perhaps wanted to think about moving on to the next stage and not be in this goldfish bowl of Downing Street, you know, children growing up and...
I think you're being very kind to him. Some people have said that he will be remembered as Lord Nelson, the man who lost the American colonies. Is he going to go down in history?
Oh,
that's a bad comparison, right? I mean, an indictment for eternity.
Look, the previous, but one Prime Minister, Tony Blair, was cheered out of the House of Commons to a standing ovation from everyone present. That pretty soon began to... his legacy pretty soon began to go off. Now, Gordon Brown, who came next, he never called a general election when he came in. He lost his next general election, and his reputation, he left Downing Street not a broken man, but his legacy, again, has not been a great one. Maybe it's the fate of the Prime Ministers of Great Britain, but David Cameron, because he gambled on this referendum and lost, that's going to be the dominant narrative of his legacy.
Yeah. It's an amazing story still, and it will continue to be so on Wednesday, particularly when she becomes the next Prime Minister. Hopefully we'll be able to talk some more then about those events. David Charter, as always, thanks for coming in and being on today.